Hi everyone, we welcome you all to this Week Tech Tuesday webinar on C360 SaaS, Enforce Governance on Master Data. Today's speaker is Kamal Abrol, who's a Principal Architect. Before we start the session, let's go through some of the housekeeping tips. The webinar is for 1 hour that includes 15 minutes Q&A. You can post your queries in Q&A box which will be answered at the end of the presentation. All participants will be muted during the presentation. The session will be recorded and it will be available on our InfoSupport YouTube channel and Success Portal where you can download the slide deck. Please feel free to submit your suggestion or feedback for the session in the post-webinar survey. The Success Portal is a micro-learning platform that offers free, unlimited learning to all the registered users. This feature-rich platform helps you learn and adopt to Informatica products better. The following are few important links that you can go over later. This will help you in your product adoption journey with Informatica. Over to you, Kamal. Thank you.
Good morning, good evening, all. Do appreciate your time in joining this Tech Tuesday webinar series sponsored by Informatica. So this webinar is intended for MDM architects, business users, stewards, developers who plan to establish data governance framework using MDM SaaS, C360 SaaS. Myself, Kamal Abrol, who will be presenting this. So since MDM covers critical governance aspects using C360 SaaS capabilities, which shall be enforced, considered enterprise vision towards governance. This session will revolve around all those parameters. I'll start with a disclaimer. This complete session will have or provide a set of discussion points that may be effective in laying out an organization DG efforts, right? And definitely it's based on the specific facts of any enterprise business operation and their data usage. Agenda is all revolving around data governance, MDM, how we can enforce or unleash the power of MDM with governance, right? Using MDM SaaS solution. So we'll start with what, why, how, why we need governance. What is the problem we are planning to resolve with governance? So with and without governance comparison, and power of MDM and combined with governance, right? So all catered by business events modeling, which we'll be discussing along with the demo, right? And event processing for merge and unmerge approval process, right? So all these are backed up by a live demo also. Right. Let's move. This slide will talk more about few governance concepts and processes which plain vanilla MDM implementation cannot resolve. Like I will start with the first pointer. Who are the owners of your data? It can be BU owners, can be data practitioners, champions. So who to held responsible for managing operations around golden record or track data lineage? So who to held accountable for the data in the golden record? Who would be responsible for enforcing business rules like data quality rules, integration rules, right? Policies, how you can track your specific pieces of data, who maintains the glossary. So altogether roles, responsibilities, defining the owners, measure the KPIs, providing a relevant set of data to the relevant set of business units, business owners, right? All those questions will be answered over this complete webinar, right? And how we can utilize MDM along with governance and enforce governance on top of MDM to answer all these questions, right? So traditionally, how data governance or MDM journey looks like and what is the biggest mistake according to me. A lot of customer does, right? So traditionally, IT is considered to be the leading driver in leading the data governance initiatives, right? Which according to me is the wrong perception. So business involvement is very much necessary and should be the key driver in leading the DG program, right? Definitely IT can lay down some end-to-end functioning of a platform, right? DQ framework, archival process, tension purging. So that's a part of IT, can act as a participant, definitely. But business should be leading the DG program since B owners are well aware about data in-outs. In fact, each attribute usage across enterprise or multiple downstream applications. So traditionally, a lot of customers remain unsuccessful since they don't involve business much, right? So what we propose is business involvement would be the critical factor, right? And so IT should not own DG program, like I said. Business key driver should be the key driver, right? Right, and IT can lay down all those frameworks. End-to-end functioning of the platform can be handled by IT. That's true. Yeah. So all together, business and IT collaboration over a single platform. That's what makes any MDM project successful, right? And this can be achieved by our business events. That is a capability within the MDM SaaS, right? That's what we call active voice. And one of the key features of governance, which we'll see via demo also, like how we can have a complete workflow-based approval rejection process, right? Wherein multiple business unit owners can collaborate, approve their relevant pieces of data, attribute set, right? And manage each part of their golden record, right? And track the complete lineage also, right? Let's move quickly. Yeah. So with and without governance, this is again one of the critical aspects. What problem we are trying to solve via this webinar, right? So without governance, we are not sure whom to ask for right answer, like who are the data owners, right? Many times communication are verbal, like a lot of round trips over email to get, right? There's no complete platform, right? And verbal collaboration is definitely risky. There's no end-to-end lineage of what has been done, what has been informed, right? With governance, right? What can be possible and what are the strategies we are planning to deploy? So definitely there is a governance council which sets all those policies, defining the owners, measuring the workflow KPIs, like how many are overdue tasks, everlasting workflows, right? All those privacy, compliance, adherence, retention policies, data quality rules, integration rules. So all these are the responsibility of governance council to set up. And definitely, like we have seen, business and IT handshake via common platform, right? So business would be leading this program and IT can be a participant. So let's see how within MDM, how we can enforce this specific set of capabilities, right? So we all know MDM capabilities. I'm not going to spend much time, but how we can deploy the governance on top of it, right? On top of golden records, what we produce as output, critical output of MDM, right? So we all know discovery, profiling, cleansing, right? These are the capability of DQ. Then MDM comes into picture where we master the data, measure the data, monitor that, publish into the downstream application. but how governance will come into picture, right? So governance will provide. So question is why MDM needs governance, right? And that is a critical question. So we are now aware about MDM capabilities. We now are aware about some of the governance capabilities also, like standardized methods, all those lineage, decision rights. But why MDM needs? So who will define or enforce the rules, right? Who will enforce compliance policies, right? Who will create it? So the data owners are the critical aspects who define this, the roles, responsibilities, right? Data quality rules, integration rules. So that's a key aspects why MDM needs governance. And not just this, even the complete handshake is necessary to track the progress of the workflow, where how many are overdue tasks, right? How many are everlasting running workflows, right? So complete approval process is also make each golden record you're governing at the highest level, right? So that's where we need MDM governance. Otherwise, MDM will just act as a, I mean, I'm speaking very broadly, but MDM will just act as a match and merge integration project, not like a complete governed solution, which is owned by a business, which is owned by data champions, right? So, okay, so I'll come to a critical slider wherein we'll be discussing more about the business events. That's a capability of MDM SaaS. So we moved from triggers in the on-prem solution, but now we are exploring the business events, where even there will be simple events like create, update, merge, unmerge. All those are backed up by workflows, right? So any CRUD operation on any entity, like if I'm creating, let's suppose, a person entity or updating, so it should be backed up by a workflow, like approval process, right? So we sense the business event and register the workflow action, right? So this can be as simple as all those CRUD operation. That's what I'm trying to explain. And as complex as events like bulk upload, right? Up to a certain threshold, let's suppose data quality cleansing done, right? So it should be backed up by a approval process or multiple approvals, right? And all loaded into the S3 bucket. So these are the kind of events what we are sensing within the MDM, and we are registering the action, right? The topic agenda which we are going to see a live demo is on the workflow. That's the first part, right? So these are covered under business events, right? Let's move. So events can be two types, can be system triggered or user triggered as well. Now user triggered events are when user or steward who logs in into the system, right? They can create, update, delete business entities, hierarchies, relationships. So all those events, whatever steward is doing, it has to be backed up by a workflow, right? It can be one reviewer, it can be two reviewer, right? So all those has to be driven by a workflow. That's how what we call user trigger event. And there are system trigger event also. So wherein we have manual reviews, right? We'll have a match process, some are exact matches, some are fuzzy, some need some manual intervention also. So those are triggered by system events. So these are manual reviews. So we'll discussing both and we'll see both. Right. Event scenarios, like it's not just one transaction which is happening. So any update to any business entity, right? So it can be not just the entity update at the parent and child levels, it can be relationship update also, right? So it involves multiple transactions. Similarly, we have hierarchy update also. So ultimately it can be a B update also, right? Multiple related transactions are being executed when a certain event gets triggered, right? We'll see what type of events we support and what type of capabilities we have, what entities we can perform as a part of demo. Okay, so let's see over the live demo now. So this is a Customer 360 SaaS platform, and I'll be logging as an administrator. Let's see how many roles we have and what kind of privileges they have on top of it. Okay, and now let me first show you the roles which we have configured before even triggering the workflow or creating any masters, right? So see over here, I've created two users. One is Steward Kamal, okay, and Data Manager Kamal. So Steward Kamal is nothing but, let me show you. It is having a role of Customer 360 Data Steward, who will be creating all those records, person, entity, or business, or any business entity, right? And we have other user also, that is Data Manager. Now this used to review what has been created by the steward, approve, reject, take a decision on top of it, right? Or update a certain business entity also, and then approve or reject, right? With the remarks. It can even send back to the steward also. So let's see the entire workflow. I'm just trying to show you what kind of roles we have deployed, what kind of users will be logging in. So this is my administrator, and let me just quickly show you the how you can register the events and how it's opening. Yeah. So we have logged in the Business 360 console, and this is the administrator screen of your C360 SaaS. So what I'm doing, I'm going to register a certain event, right? And let's see how it is done. So like I said, there will be two types of event. One is user trigger and system driven. We are not publishing right now. So user trigger event, let's try to first elaborate user trigger events. We already created this, but let me try to show you how it is done. So this can be anything person. We are creating event on person, right? So this is just a display name. That is okay. We can have on what entities we want to build the workflow, right? Workflow approval based process. So I can search, let's suppose a person entity, right? Or let me do at the org level, right? So this is the organization entity, right? You can have what kind of operations like create whenever steward is creating it, whenever it's updating it, deleting it, merging it. So all those actions can be performed over here. You can have multiple also. Okay. And there is a roles who would be triggering this event, right? Like steward would be triggering this event, right? Like I shown you the role steward underscore Kamal who would be triggering this event. The next part is what kind of approval process. So out of the box, we provide one and two-step approval. Obviously, we can have custom workflows also. So one-step approval, and who would be the approval? We have to define the role also, right? So it can be customer 360 manager, right? Once we say yes, we can define what type of title name we have to. Whenever any task gets created, we can define dynamic title name also, right? So it can be event name, can be some ID, so that you got to know, okay, this task has been created, right, on a specific event. So this is priority. You can give normal, high, depending upon the task, right? Depending on the event and how much time it will be due in. It can be overdue task after 7 days or 5 days, right? So this is how you can create the task, and I'll show you what I have created for you. So this is the user triggered event, and it can have create, update, merge operations, right? And this is the task which will be created and how it is created and what entity it will be created. It will be created on the person entity, right? The action on what actions, these are the actions. It will be whenever steward is creating the entity, that is person entity, updating the person entity, unmerging the person entity, or manual merge the person entity, a task is created. Now what kind of approval based workflow is there? So it will be having a one level of approval, okay? And kind of properties, so it will be suffixed by person event, okay? So this is already a configuration. Just remember this. We'll be seeing in the demo altogether, right? Okay, so this is the admin panel definitely, and let me just log in, log out from this, and log in via Customer 360 UI. That is where steward can create it, right? So we'll log out from here. I log in as a steward who will be triggering any specific action, right? We'll be creating the business entity using the Customer 360 UI. Let me close this. So whenever I create using the steward role, it has to trigger a task. That's what event we have already configured, right? So let me create any entity. I'm creating a person entity. Let me show you. This is a steward underscore Kamal. So we have just configured the event. Whenever steward will create, update, merge, unmerge person entity, it has to be driven by a workflow. That is nothing but task, right? So I'm creating the person entity over here. Okay. Now let's suppose I give any specific name, person, anything, right? Some other details. Okay, I'll give something. Can have address details also. I'll give. Okay. Oh, address details. So these are all dummy, okay? And I'll try to save this data. I need to give some values. Okay, I need to give the country that is in, should be valid one. Okay, so this is again date. Let me just remember this name, Andrew Anderson. Okay. Oh, now when I'm creating this particular record, particular person entity, not person record, sorry, it has to be driven by a workflow, right? Whenever I send for approval, let me send for approval. Let me show you first. So Andrew Anderson is sent for approval. No master has been created up till now. Even if I search Andrew, it will not appear. Let me search it. Let me show you. There's no result found because it's not yet created. We have configured the task. Whenever steward creates any record, it has to be driven by a workflow. Now we'll be logging by a workflow manager, that is data manager, who has the rights to review the task created by the steward and perform some actions. I'll tell you what are the actions. I've logged in via C360 SaaS data manager. Okay, let me give them all the privileges. Okay, I'm logging my data manager. Should have received the particular task which is just created by a steward, right? But how to see that? So we have a workflow inbox over here. Click on it. Oh yes, it's there. So we have Andrew Anderson. So it's an open task. Any user which is under customer 360 manager role can claim this. I've just data manager underscore Kamal. This is my username. I'm just logged in. It's not with me. It's steward underscore Kamal is the current creator, right? Steward has sent it to a particular role, that is customer 360 data manager. Now I can claim it. So once I claim it, okay, it should be visible under my task. Let me show you. I claim this Andrew Anderson. It is now under my queue, under data manager underscore Kamal user. Okay, it's got out from the role. Now when I refresh it, it is under my umbrella, right? Now I am the owner of this. Okay, now look at the complete. Okay, steward has sent it. Now what manager can do, or what reviewer can do? They can release this task. If I release it, then again it will be in the open queue. Anyone, like let's suppose a specific user went onto a vacation. Now that task has to be released, otherwise it will be overdue, right? So these are some of the actions. So I'll claim it again. I can reject that considering the data is not appropriate, right? So these are the things we can do. Send back is send back to the steward again to review it and send back appropriately with the content, relevant content, right? So for now, I'm going to the happy path and try to, let's suppose I'm trying to, it's not right now. I'll try to, although reviewer can edit this, okay? I'll edit in the second stage. I'm approving right now. So once it is approved, now the business entity person and this person record should be treated as a golden record, okay? If there are no potential matches pending, okay? And let me search now. Now entry should be visible, and under workflow, this is completed. You see over here, okay? Owner is now manager Kamal, and I'll go. Okay, I'll search. Now this should be visible at least because this has been approved by us. Okay, yeah, this is now visible since this is a golden record right now, and this is backed up by a complete approval process. This is a more governed record, I would say. Okay, backed up by a specific business owner, right? So similarly, we can have different business unit owner also acting on a particular entity, serving their relevant attributes, and finally collaborating into the multiple reviewers also you can have, right? department specific reviews also. I've just shown you sample so that you can extend this, right, to govern more appropriately with multiple departments under enterprise, right? So now let's see a second flow wherein I try to update this, right? Now this is again, I said whenever any action, I've shown you create master entity action. Now I'll try to show you update action, okay? Any action whenever steward will perform, it has to be triggered by a workflow so that we are fully governing our golden record, right? Not, we should be tracking end-to-end lineage, what has been updated, what has been, when it has been created, who created that, right? Who modified, right? Let me try to open the record again. Let's try to update the same record. So Steward is the user. He's having access to create, update, merge. Okay, now I'll take a second use case that I'll create something like I'll add over here W, I'll add maybe A capital, W Anderson's, I'll add title doctor, right? Something you can add. Okay. Yes, okay, so I have done enough updation over here. Let's try to save it. I'll send it for the approval. Now, Steward has again initiated a workflow, sent to the approval. I'll be logging out. Now, this is a use case for updating, right? Whenever you update any entity, I'm logging out with our manager, right? Who is a manager should be able to view this task again, but in a different way, in a updation mode, right? The layout would be different. But first, let's see whether the task lies in his queue. Oh yes, this is again updated task and it's unassigned, right? Now we'll claim it. But before claiming it, I can claim right now also, but I want to show whatever changes I'm doing, it's being tracked, right? Whatever the before and do, we change it to big A, W, extra, middle name we have added, whatever changes we have done. So now it's easy for approver. Okay, this is the final version of updated record. I can claim it and approve it, right? Even I can send back to the first level of steward also, like I've shown you earlier also. Can reject it also. These are the options. But once it is approved, then I can see the updated record. Okay, now I'll be able to see the updated version. Okay. I need to select this entity specifically to see the updated version. Now it should be visible. Yes, it is visible. So this is the complete altogether backed by a workflow right over here. And this is not just create update. We can have entities, we can have hierarchy, creation, updation, relationships, right? And not just create, update, we can have merge, unmerge, different type of task options are there, right? So, okay, so I'll move to the next thing, how we can do the event processing across merge and unmerge. That is also critical. Okay. So up till now, I think we have seen the demo of create use case, update use case. Similarly, we can have delete use case also. Right now, the critical thing, over here is it is all backed by a workflow, not just the business entity. We can have different hierarchies and all relationships also backed by a workflow. Now let's try to see for merge and unmerge how the event processing takes place, right? Whenever you are merging, manual merging the data or unmerging, it should also be backed by approval. So this is again a configuration from the business event page only. So let's suppose we have a merge. We have to merge the potential matches, like you can see over here, Kelly Wills and Charles Wills. So this is essentially I'm suspecting this, not suspecting, our match and merge engine has identified as a potential match, but it has to be manually reviewed, right? So once I manually reviewed, it has to be backed by workflow also. It has to be, it's not like I just manual reviewed and merge it. It has to be approved also, right? So let's see how it happens and what configurations we have to do. So it's pretty straightforward. So first of all, you need to run your match and merge job, right? The generate merge task job, so that it actually triggers the system event and allows a steward or a data manager to review this particular records, right? So very first thing is to generate the merge task. So this job actually will create the merge task. Those are pending for manual reviews, right? So now these were task has to be owned by some manager and analyze it, and they can approve it, they can reject it, they can say that it's not a match. All those actions they can do. So very first thing is to uh, match and merge job you need to perform, right? So you can match will take some time, but generate merge task is usually faster, right? So first you need to register the match job and schedule the match job. Once it is done, you need to generate the match task and have the task limit also, like how much task you can allow a particular job to get generated. So this is again very straightforward. I'll move ahead, right? Once it is done, you can instantiate the merge workflow task. Okay. Now you see on the screen, this is the view which your data manager will see as a manual reviewer, right? And they can approve it, they can release, they can stop it, like they can see as a not a match, right? They can perform multiple action, they can see not sure. So these are the actions they can driven by workflow, right? So whenever they approve it, then only it will be considered as a final approval record, right? So this is a cross reference view, and these are two potential matches, not which system cannot identify as a match, but see as a probable match, right? Now you need to identify whether it is a duplicate or not, right? So that's a layout you can see over here, completely different from create and update approval process. So depending upon the task type, we have different set of layouts, and that is configurable also to a certain extent, right? Now see again, we have seen the merge. Now we have the unmerge also, right? So any record which is merged incorrectly, right, you can unmerge, and that also can be followed by a particular workflow, right? So you can unmerge, select and unmerge it, and then would be a workflow would be triggered again, right? So this complete approval process can be backed up by a workflow, and again task can be created, one level reviewer, two level reviewer, depends upon your business. Because again, it's a critical exercise, you know why I'm saying it's a critical exercise, because you are unmerging, you are detaching it, and detaching means this, the record which is detached, it will be created as a independent entity, independent record, as a golden record it will be treating, right? So that's a major decision you're taking on your consolidated data already, right? It has to be backed by approval process. Yeah, this is again a critical slider wherein we need to understand what kind of task we can perform in terms of governing the master data. We can create the data, we can update, delete, right? So these are also backed up by the task also. Task means workflow, and workflow means any action like create, update, delete on an entity, on a hierarchy, on a relationship, you can approve and reject and backed up by a complete lineage. Not just create, update, we can have merge task also. We have seen the how to merge, how to generate merge task job and then process the potential matches via approval process. Also the unmerged approval process also, right? So this is end to end. I mean, why we need to govern the data and how we can govern the data. What is the problem we're trying to solve? So we're making the data more manageable, performing thus typical set of rules, clearly identifying the data owners who are updating it, who are approving it. So we have the clear accountability of tracking the specific pieces of data. Like it can be approved by multiple reviewers, department specific owners, right? They can review their own set of data and approve their specific set of data set also. That is also can be done, right? So you have seen multiple layout also, right? We'll have B BE update can have a different layout, merge task approval will have a different layout, and BE update I've already shown you, right? So it is having what is the before value and what is the after value, right? So layout driven task detail is there. It is configurable up to a certain extent, right? So you get to see different layouts based on different actions you perform, like merge task, create update task will have different set of layouts. And definitely we have out of the box workflows also, right? So you don't have to build the complete CI process. We have provided you just one click or one step approval workflow, two-step approval workflow. Okay, it's there already. So even two-step is there already, and more will be added in the future. But definitely, if not some, if any customer do have the requirement of specific workflow, right? They can definitely develop using our CEI solution. Okay, that can be bundled up with MDM to cater all the data governance needs, right? This is again one of the key features, right? So finally, like the key quotation, although this is a very bold quotation from Gartner, Andrew White, and MDM without governance, just a plain vanilla integration project where we are doing just match and merge. The governance is a key driver of making any MDM project successful. And traditionally, we have seen in the past when this governance approach is not much popular, we have seen the highest failure of MDM implementations because business was not at all involved, and it's all driven by the IT, and business is not able to accept since it involves a lot of decisions in terms of data retentions, data approvals, data residency, right? So all this can be covered by using Informatic MDM SaaS solution, right? So yes, so the demonstration which I shown you, or the content which I shown you, is backed up by the capabilities which is already present in the in our MDM SaaS or C360 SaaS project. So if you're planning to start or planning to implement C360 SaaS, then you can utilize this kind of governance exposure into your project, present to your higher management also, and you can definitely, this is just a vision, you can explore, expand, explore, extend this particular solution to our capability to make it to the next level, allow more business units, more departments to get involved with your golden data or master data so that they can manage their typical set of theirs information in a more governed way, right? So thank you. But if you have any questions on any topic which we have discussed today in terms of workflows, business events, entities, task types, actions any user can take, you can write over here. You can write, I can answer right away. Okay, so I'm there for next few minutes, right? So you can have list of questions. I'll try to answer one by one all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi all, we have reached the Q&A part. Please post your questions.
I think one of the question is how to use maybe user exit. That is the question, I think. So any workflow customization, I will speak from the workflow customization perspective. If you are planning to utilize a user exit, that can be customized via CI workflow. So user exits typically, like on-prem, is not a part of MDM SaaS, right? Any kind of customization can be task related, can be multiple emails you want to send at multiple stages of the project. You can utilize the CAI workflows. You can customize that as per your needs. Hope I answered that. Also, just want to state if you are planning to utilize MDM SaaS or you are already utilizing MDM SaaS, so you can reach out to me or the customer success team within Informatica. Those can help you guide in terms of establishing the governance framework, how to adopt a particular MDM SaaS solution in a best practice way. So those are the critical aspects what our team do within Informatica. And feel free to reach out to me if you or you're planning to deploy the governance. You can post here also, and later you can reach out to me also over my email. So I think we have a couple of questions. How many levels of, okay, Dilip answered already. So one question, I think it is already answered. Right. Just sharing my experience. for any governance, like for any MDM project, governance would be play a critical role, I would say. I've seen many MDM implementation fail just because of lack of governance, because they don't have any business involvement within the entire project. So I think one of the question, Harshita, am I audible?
Yes, come on. You are audible.
Okay, thanks. So one of the question, I think, can you give some example on MDM with governance? So the clear example which I see is the business involvement into your MDM project. So many times I've seen in the past, most of the MDM implementation fails because they don't involve the business. Only IT is playing the leading role of, right? So business, I mean, there should be data owners, data practitioners, data policy holders who used to like wrote all those compliance policies, integration rules, data quality rules, own specific pieces of data belonging to their department. You should have BU owners acting on their data set within a whole master entity. So those kind of strict governance makes your project even more critical within the organization, since a lot of departments get involved into a single platform and we have a business and IT handshake, right? So hope I answered your question. So that's why business involvement is very much necessary for the success of MDM project, because MDM is typically making your data, like it is transforming your data, and it's not at all accepted by the only by the IT. Like if business is not involved, you're transforming your data. It's a big decision, so it has to be business consent also, and business should be even the leader in doing those activities. So that's why I say govern your data with multiple business owners, multiple department owners, right? That's how you have a strict lineage and strict governance when you deploy any MDM project, and more successful project also, because those department owners are the business like data champions according to their business units. Everyone don't have visibility of all the business units. It's only the department owners have their visibility within their business units, and they can have the approval process only with respect to their specific set of attributes, right? So that's where marketing, finance, or CRM departments, so multiple departments can be involved over a common platform, what we call MDM, and generate all those events, right? So business events, right? Yeah, great. I think I answered your question. One more question, I think, which Dilip is already answering. Great. So this is answered. I think one of the question from Christian Richard is DG fluid. What are the critical DG aspects that are needed to implement DG? So like I said, the core aspect of involving the data governance within MDM is having business owners and IT handshake over a same portal. You should be aware who are your owners and how you are tracking pieces of data in your golden record. So you should be able to track. Without data owners, without compliance owners, without policy adherence owners, you cannot track your master records, how they are being operated within the MDM environment, right? So that's how I treat as a critical aspect. So have the proper rules and responsibility, have a proper business glossary, dictionaries, and that's how we implement the data governance. Yeah, hope I answered your question. Still be a few minutes, so feel free to write to me right now or maybe later also. And there's some more questions, so thank you. Is there a list of specific question to ask a business regarding governance? So definitely there is a generic list which we can share with you, like you should have policy owners, you should have proper roles, data owners. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me. Let's just type my email ID so we can connect and discuss more depending upon the business, what kind of questions you can ask to involve the data governance initiative to make MDM SaaS compatible with data governance. So hope I answered this question. 4 minutes. So still, if you have any questions, I will be there for next 4 minutes. Okay, one more question. Dilip already answered. I think J&J, I think Dilip already answered, but I like to add one more thing. So the workflows which you see out of the box, you can have your own custom workflows also. You can copy the assets, what we have provided to you, can build as what you want in that workflow, like 2-step, 3-step, within like pass, shoot the email or shoot specific contents within the email. So the whole platform we are providing to you to make sure you are involving multiple approvers, right? But only thing, make sure MDM should be compatible, right? Once you are saying there are 5 level of departments participating, then those roles should be there because that's how CEI integration works with MDM SaaS. But yes, those customizations can be done, and that's not very tricky like on-prem. So this is more robust CEI solution. You will have drag drop like an email. You need to just drag drop and provide all those properties. Okay, one more question. Yeah, Dilip already answered. Yeah, great. The difference between MDM on-premise and SaaS, I think Dilip already correctly pointed out, no way to compare, but the advantage which we feel as an architect, as a developer, or as a business user, is SaaS is pretty much very easy to configure. There's no fundamental challenge in terms of environment bothering us or any kind of build is getting destroyed, right, or getting corrupted. So it's very easy to set up with the out-of-the-box model also we are providing. So the traction on any SaaS project is again the advantage also is you have the complete out-of-the-box model. You can jumpstart your project without worrying about all the environmental challenges, right? So no comparison. Still we have matured a lot in terms of capabilities, and we are maturing every quarter. For MDM SaaS. Okay, 1 more minute. So still You can go ahead, post questions. There is a laptop. So Harshita, yes, I think now, okay, one more question. How to migrate MDM on-premise to MDM SaaS? So definitely this has to be evaluated first, because MDM on-premise it's been a decade long. There are customers who are decade-long implementations, right, in terms of user exits, in terms of procedural calls, right? So those needs to be evaluated whether it is a candidate to be migrated to MDM SaaS, or wise would be to have a scratch implementation. Okay, but definitely whatever you are doing in MDM on-premise, most of the critical capabilities are already present in the SaaS. So also, when I say evaluate, there is a specific team within Informatica who does this. So you can reach out to me. I can guide you to that specific team, and that team can evaluate your implementation, and what best suited to you can be given as a recommendation. I'm just sharing my email address. Harshita, I think we are over right now about time, and hope I answered every question. So
thank you, Kamal, for presenting.
Yeah.
And Dilip for joining us as a panelist. We kindly request our audience to take up the survey and let us know your thoughts. Today's webinar will be available tomorrow on Success Portal under the resources. You all have a great day ahead.
Thank you, Dilip. Thank you, everyone.